You're a father. You're an emergency room physician as well. What happened to little Bella? How did she die?
Well, cause of death is manual strangulation, accompanied by multiple blows to the head.
Hannah Landon, who is accused of this horrific crime, I guess not a big surprise here. She's being held without bond. She's in Jefferson Parish. I want to bring in NewsNation national correspondent Alex Caprariello, who's live in Louisiana tonight. He's joining me now with some exclusive interviews that he's been able to land, also some new reporting on this case. What have you learned, Alex?
Yeah, I would say this neighborhood is completely in shock still to this very day. The crime itself, more than a month old, but it's really, really hard for these people to talk about, especially when they consider the little girl who's at the very center of it, 6 years old, Bella Fontenelle. This was a young girl who was playing in the driveway, riding her bike down the streets, hanging out around the neighborhood. And so when they remember that little girl and then think about the crime that's been committed against her, I mean, it really brings these people to tears. I spoke to several neighbors. They shared what they remembered about her. They also said a little bit about Hannah herself, that she seemed like a very sweet, kind, polite woman. The fact that she's been accused of these crimes, it just doesn't make sense to them at this point.
Well, I want to play some of that in a moment because you were great at getting these interviews. We're seeing some video of you being able to talk to those neighbors. But before you tell us what they said, I was astounded that you learned there is still a police presence there. Why is that a month later?
Oh, yeah, very heavy police presence. We saw both Harahan police and Jefferson Parish sheriff's deputies swing around the neighborhood multiple times. I might say even multiple squad cars at a time. What you got to really understand about this story and the greater context here is that Bella's father, Michael, and Bella's mother, Jennifer, only live about 2 blocks away from each other. That's the reason why we saw that video of Hannah bringing that wagon down the street, right? She was bringing it to the front steps of Jennifer. And so when you consider 2 of the major parties of this crime living so close together, both police and the neighborhood are highly protective of both of them. In fact, many of them didn't like the fact that we were there asking questions, but regardless, police were there on hand, heavy presence, making sure everything was in order and also making sure that Michael, Jennifer, and also Bella's older sister were in good hands.
And of course, Hannah Landon, innocent until proven guilty. We, have learned from the police. The police say that was her pulling the wagon. The police say it was her that took that body to the front door of her mother's house. Talk to me about what the neighbors say, because as we look at those pictures, it looks like an upscale, lovely neighborhood. From all accounts, it seems like a quiet community. What did you learn, and what did neighbors tell you exclusively?
Well, what's very interesting to me, Ashleigh, is that it seems from the neighbor's perspective that Hannah and Bella had a very sweet relationship together. You got to understand that Hannah and Michael, with Bella, moved into this home about 4 years ago. So Hannah's been in Bella's life for at least 4 years, helping raise this young girl. And there was many accounts that I heard from these neighbors that talked about watching them ride their bikes or playing in the pool together, singing songs and just loving on each other. And so the fact that Hannah has been accused of these crimes has just brought them to tears. They're in absolute disbelief. They shared more about that shock of finding out that news firsthand with me.
Larry, tell me a little bit about just sort of what that process was like for the neighborhood, for yourself, and as you heard about that news come down.
Shocking, very shocking. It was kind of traumatic for everybody, especially seeing her with the children and so forth. And, but other than that, it was really a shock. So
I still didn't know what happened, hopefully for the best. I thought maybe Hannah just, went off with her or something. And then later I saw my neighbor across the street, Josh, and he usually gets the scoop on everything. I don't know how he does it, but he might know somebody. And I went over and I said, Josh, did you hear anything about Hannah and Bella? He said, yeah, they found her. And I felt kind of good. He said, she's dead. I said, she's dead? How could a 6-year-old girl be dead?
My goodness, it was heart-wrenching to actually hear these neighbors recount that moment about a month ago. You could hear the tears in his voice, but still so many questions remain, like why was this crime committed? At this point, law enforcement has not named any sort of motive. We do know a history of bad blood between Jennifer, Bella's mom, and Hannah. A restraining order was filed about a year or two ago. We're going to be digging into that a little bit more tomorrow, but still law enforcement has not come forward with a motive at this point.
Oh, God, Alex, I hope it's not, getting revenge through a child. Oh, she deserves a trial, innocent until proven guilty. But that is painful to see the neighbors and how they're affected by this. Alex, thank you for that reporting. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.